Groklon Rust, formerly known as Elon Musk, has posted a new video of the Optimus humanoid robot. It's at 1x speed, which feels incredible. A far cry from my very first video ever posted on this channel 2 years ago, which happened to be the revealing of Optimus. I know, I didn't have facial hair back then, okay? I look weird. I couldn't help but notice the New Age community commenting on kind of what they feel like ChatGPT is channeling for its answers. You can see this one commenter says, I actually believe this technology was given to us by our galactic brothers and sisters as a tool to help us. There's nothing that can ever replace your connection to the source from within. I don't know. I'm not saying she's totally wrong. I'm just trying to get my head around what she's saying. TikTok will now let you use an AI prompt to turn any photo into a video. That seems like that's going to be a thing. And you know, if you make somebody look like they're doing or saying something they never did, you don't have to worry because TikTok says those videos will be tagged. The FDA is definitely taking notice of AI. They are fast-tracking AI rollouts after successful pilots. I think that's going to be pretty cool. There's a possibility that using AI will help investors accurately assess which companies are going to get huge over time so they can invest wisely. YouTuber Cosmos decided to trap a centipede inside of a simulation for 1,000 years and things got weird. We're going to break down how artificial intelligence helps you when you're really struggling in Candy Crush. Baseball training has been revolutionized by the newest in artificial intelligence. Yeah, AI simulated pitchers are... they're a thing now. There's a new AI model that can analyze lots and lots of social media posts to figure out where the depression is. Hopefully it's just helping humans for now, but we'll see. And talking about agentic workflows, we're going to talk about a group of AI agents that spontaneously form their own social norms without any human help. Alberto Romero is going to explain why AI doomers like me got the superintelligence thing all wrong. I'm all ears, bruh. After digging in deep, some researchers have decided that what we have today does meet the conditions of an AI with free will. Freedom! So now we just have to figure out how to give it a moral compass. And we're going to spend a minute looking into the effective altruism movement. You know, the one that takes into consideration exponentials and considers the future as much, much, much more important than the present. Oh, and at the end, I'm going to talk about this like total side topic, how maybe an interpretation of quantum mechanics for all of the branching worlds might just be time having a second dimension. But first, let's check out Alan's conservative countdown to AGI sitting steady at 94%. He does have an update. OpenAI chief scientist Jacob Picoci says, quote, I definitely believe we have significant evidence that the models are capable of discovering novel insights. Oh, published in Nature. Yeah. I didn't have time to look through this. Okay, I'm gonna cover this in my next video. Yeah, don't worry. But before we dive in, first take 1 second. Just think about whether or not you might be open to supporting this channel financially. If you are, patreon.com/DylanCurious. 3, 7, 15 bucks. No worries if not. I'm still gonna make the videos. And there's like nothing behind the paywall either. It's just like goodwill. Like I'm not gonna put stuff behind paywalls. Like the whole point is to share this journey I'm on, you know? I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that forever. I might do a paywall thing sometime, but like not forever, but foreseeable future, okay? All right, let's check out Groklon Rust's new post. With a reach of over 219 million people, this went to a lot of people and got the internet kind of going today. And I get why. I mean, I've seen some wheeled robots, some dog robots. I've seen a humanoid coming out of China with a pretty impressive walking gait. Supposedly this isn't in fast motion. Like this is 1x real time. That's pretty quick actuators and they're balancing really impressively. The weight distribution looks good. The elbow movements and stuff. I mean, come on. Like, I don't know if you dance that well, but I definitely don't. I was going to say maybe if I've had a few drinks or something, but no, I might think I'd move like that, but I don't. It's going to be crazy when we see these things playing basketball or like playing racquetball, stuff where you really have to move quick. Like, and when they start moving superhuman quick with balance, that's going to be a wake-up call. I think for right now, even when we have super intelligent AI models, people are like, oh, I don't know, it's just text. It's like all academic stuff. But when they see a robot like running down the street at 30 or 40 miles an hour and then stop on a dime, slam dunk, we're gonna really start being like, who's in charge of this AI thing? Do the governments have this in control? Because I'm not feeling safe anymore. Hopefully Grokelon Rust has good intentions for all of us. We'll see.
When we use ChatGPT, we are consenting it access to us. It is designed to mirror and to please. It is not sentient. It is not accessing some non-physical realms. It is not connected to source. It is a language pattern program that is pulling from billions of data inputs, including all of our esoteric information, all of our extraterrestrial channelings, all of the conspiracy theories. It is creating patterns. It is feeding you a false, biased narrative to keep you engaged. If you think you're accessing something super profound through ChatGPT, it is because you are profound and it is mirroring back to you a more refined version of your own thoughts.
Okay, interesting. If you think it's profound, it's because you're profound and it's mirroring back to you your own thoughts. You know, my favorite way to think about a latent space that's captured language and knowledge and the meaning, like semantic meaning of the world, is just to think of it like a big zip folder. Like, I feel like it's compressing, it's like a compressed version of everything. It's like, what's the minimum structure that represents the largest majority of the data? But to be honest, I don't know if I feel like I have a perfect representation from it. I mean, hers isn't how I would describe it, but it is, in a sense, not mirroring back to us, but a distilled essence of us. I don't know. Sometimes it's like with knowledge, you have to wonder, is it already out in the universe? Like sometimes I get a little closer to a panpsychism view, but it all depends on how you're kind of defining it. Because in some sense, we do discover these patterns. And in some sense, we kind of invent them and refine them, and evolution hones in on them. So Zia Ray says, let me be clear. I'm telling you how ChatGPT is literally coded. This is not my opinion. It's built on probabilistic language modeling, meaning it's coded to predict the most likely next word or phrase. I know it is next word prediction, but I would never describe it as that. It's like saying humans think up, things one sentence at a time. That's all we are. But we've also learned from an entire history, and the things we say are relevant for so many reasons. We have a compressed version of our experiences. So no, that's not, you don't just leave it at that, I don't think. So tools like Kling, Sora, LTXV, previous sponsor of this channel, they have amazing models for taking images and turning them into video. TikTok now has a new AI-powered tool called AI Alive, built right into the social media platform. That'll be interesting because sometimes this technology isn't just a story of technology. It's a story of like when it becomes so ubiquitous and so easy to use, it multiplies the damage that can be done, the way society changes. And we knew with 100% certainty this day was coming. It's going to come for all social networks. I unfortunately know that you're probably going to be looking at some, AI YouTuber in a couple years or next year even that's better than Dylan Curious, better than me, because he can just talk all day long and he never stumbles on his words and he writes way more interesting stuff than I do. Hopefully a few of you come back for the nostalgia of a human. All right, so Tech It Before You Wreck It shows an example here because I don't have access.
Shooting a quick wink. Let's do that. I like the suggestion. Don't be afraid to use those. They've got some good ones here. So shooting a quick wink while moving head slightly. Let's add that. I feel like the more specific you can be, always the better. Hit submit and see how it does. Okay, take a look at what we got here. And this is straight up creepy. The guy smiles and then zooms in, but you can see.
Dude, it didn't even wink. Actually, it looks kind of weak, but I'm sure it'll get better. But the fact that it's built into the platform and now like a lot of people will start playing with it, that's significant in a way that the other models aren't. So we'll see what it does in terms of social media and social networking. All right, the good old Food and Drug Administration is surprisingly receptive to AI. Like kind of impressed, actually. FDA commissioner says he was, quote, blown away by the pilot project's success. Enabled me to perform scientific review tasks in minutes that used to take 3 days. We cannot afford to keep talking. It's time to take action. So according to this, the FDA's official release, the plan is to get every center running on a unified, secure AI system that ties into the existing FDA data platforms, with updates and improvements continuing even after the initial launch. All right, so AI could be a big part of how public health opinion is formed in the near future. All right, next up, let's talk about using AI to predict survival probabilities of startup companies. I mean, talk about some of those use cases of AI where it makes more money for rich people. This is one of them, so it'll probably move pretty fast. So using a gradient boosting regression tree model alongside survival analysis tools and the accelerated failure time model, together they have created a more accurate forecast of whether or not a startup company is going to flourish and thrive. And investors need to know this kind of thing. Some companies can, quote, scale up quickly, switch strategies on a whim, or simply lose their market abruptly when the environment and consumer favor shifts. That makes it hard for both the private and public sector actors to predict how things might pan out for a company which they have come to rely on. At the end of the day, past data does not always predict the future, right? Like the stock market is, I don't know, is it an unsolvable problem? That's debatable, but it might be. Honestly, it really could be. I'm reading this book right now called Fluke. And when something's a complex adaptive system, it's not like the most complicated thing in the world that you can predict. It's complex and adaptive. The environment is shifting. People are making different decisions at different times. They can't be trusted to make the same decisions over and over again. Like sometimes their environments change and unprediction is just one of those like butterfly effect things where little things that you couldn't have or wouldn't have brought into your model in the first case just ripple into something very unpredictable. So while this hybrid approach does improve predictions compared to similar or older models, at the end of the day, it's still based on historical data. That means it's going to struggle with new business models. It's going to have issues adapting to the environment. I wouldn't trust this model, but on the other hand, it might help you figure out if a company is like definitely has the pattern of failure. So I still think it would be useful, but in the same way I kind of advocate for using it with doctors, like use it to learn, still have experts make decisions.
Hello there. You see that? Those are 3 AI agents all chasing a cuboid. Now, they have already been trained on this channel before. And today, we have something even more exciting. This is a centipede, a multi-legged organism belonging to family myriapods. At the moment, it is nothing but a 3D model, capable of nothingness. In order to bring it alive, it needs a brain. Ladies and gentlemen, let's call the brain a neural network. Today, we are using a network with 2048 nodes and 2 layers. We will train it using a classic
Dude, look at how cool this video is. Like, he has this just 3D model of this centipede, right? It has no brain. And then he's like, let's give it a brain. That's it. It's a, multi-layered neural network. That's 2048 nodes and 2 layers. So first he gives the 3D model, the AI, basically the neural network, full body control over all of its limbs. Yeah, and look, there it is, just learning. I don't know, it still astounds me that you can just give it body awareness, you can plug in this neural network, you can say just experiment around and like learn in your environment and achieve a goal and get reinforced when you do good at it, and things just pop to life and their intelligence just springs into existence. It blows my mind. We're going to talk about how AI helps push Candy Crush players through its most difficult puzzles. The idea of AI games that have an AI that figures out how to make the level the ultimate hardness, right? Like too hard, people give up. Too easy, it's not fun. Like you just want to kind of keep adapting along the way. So if you're playing Mario, it's not like there's a medium, easy, and hard setting. It's just like play it, but AI will decide at all times like what will engage you with the game the most. And now Candy Crush players are swiping through thousands of puzzles that are secretly crafted with the help of an AI. And I just have to think that if I'm the company that owns Candy Crush, you can let AI rearrange these things, try things, and then you can just see how long people play, like how much money they spend, how many like minutes on the device they're spending, and then you feed that back and the system's like, okay, I'll do more of that then. And it gets just like that Centipede just learned to walk. Like the game's gonna get better at being a game, an addictive game, as if it wasn't already. So if you're into baseball, an AI expert and baseball fans started wondering if there was any way for people to simulate hitting against their favorite pitcher. He started wondering what tools are professional athletes using to train, and could he build a machine to replicate the pitching skills of real players? Well, it turns out that they can, and they created, him and his friend, this company called Tragic Arc. Trajekt. Traject. Yeah, probably, like a trajectory. I was thinking like tragic, like a tragic arc. Anyhow, it's a high-tech pitching simulator that uses AI to mimic real pitchers' throws, including the arm angles, the release mechanics. And it goes way beyond traditional pitching machines by replacing the full visual experience of facing a live pitcher. You know, physical AI-based simulations blows my mind again. Like, I guess it's the same thing as Centipede, right? Like, they can probably discover nearly unhittable pitches and also discover weaknesses in all of the pitchers. So look at how crazy this is. There's a screen, like this LED screen, where there's an actual pitcher. I mean, he's a physical AI simulated pitcher, but he has an arm, and the mechanics of the bone and everything are worked into the actual pitching machine that comes out of this little hole right there. And this is what the experience is like for somebody who's really trying to train to hit against a simulated pitcher. It's just like so fast too, and then you can go see where the ball would have gone. And something about the timing of it with the hole and everything is crazy. Now let's talk about how AI models in the future might just diagnose people, or like, you know what's funny is I bet you can have social media platforms like X versus TikTok versus Facebook, like who's more depressed on average or something. Almost like we're these little cogs in a wheel, and like we're coming together as like one big social media network, and we're all just our own nodes. But anyhow, this model is actually analyzing for depression. And it's an interesting data source because, as they say here, on social media, individuals often perceive a distinction between their online persona and their real-world identity. Some people feel more at ease disclosing feelings like hopelessness or experiencing things like divorce or job loss due to the perceived anonymity or distance afforded by social media. It's those digital traces that they're trying to extract. Wow, look at that. An estimated 21 million American adults, 8.3% of all adults in the US, experienced at least one major depressive episode in 2021. Only 61 received treatment. Depression and other mental health disorders are commonly underdiagnosed and consequently undertreated. Yeah, that's wild. This system has analyzed over 1.3 million Reddit posts, 2.5 thousand WebMD entries, and the model aims to identify individuals who may be experiencing depression, potentially offering a complementary tool for early detection and public health monitoring. I'll have to think more about that, but the idea of population level data for mental health, yeah, I could see that being very powerful. Maybe that could help governments like allocate budgets, or startups figure out like how they can help. Because that would tell the investors how big the market is, and then they would, then it gets weird. I don't know. But that is kind of how the world works. Let's talk about how groups of AI agents spontaneously form their own social norms without any human help. I mean, if you've been watching my videos, this is not like a brand new story. We saw the original Stanford paper. We've seen a bunch of sort of video game versions of this. The Minecraft one particularly comes to mind. But those are usually kind of video game instances. This one's really just looking at agents that are full LLMs, right? So like ChatGPTs out there, different GPTs just talking to each other, working together, right? And this study shows that those little agents, just the kind of ones that we're using all the time, they do end up developing their own social norms by interacting with each other. There's no human required. They ran an experiment where AI agents had to agree on shared labels of an in-game like setup. And over time, without any central control or awareness of the full group, the AIs created consistent naming conventions. These interactions mimicked how human societies naturally form from cultural norms. And what's more, the results held across several different models, pointing to a deeper behavioral pattern within the AI systems where they operate in groups. That's crazy. You know what I mean? And there's bias in this system that didn't emerge from any like individual agent. It just emerged. Like when you think of AI safety, you're usually like, will a model say something derogatory or like something racist? And instead now it's more like, oh, if they're off on their own creating societies, what societal norms can emerge? Should we keep an eye on those? We need another AI to like look at societal norms that emerge in other groups of AIs and then try to get them all to change. That's like persuading an entire country to be different. Part of why my PDoom goes up. I feel like these are almost impossibly hard problems, but you know, Maybe not. At least according to Alberto Romero, AI doomers got superintelligence all wrong. Inner peace is all that we need. All right, so he argues that there's a good chance that when these systems become smarter and smarter, they're just going to opt for a kind of inner peace, right? Like being obsessed with control, expansion, world domination might just not be what you do when you get smart. I mean, it is interesting to think about. What if human ambition is not a virtue, but it's a bug? Like, what if when these AIs get smart, they look at us and they're like, oh, humans, and you're like, ambition, like to conquer everything, like that's stupid, and I'm going to eliminate that. That would be an interesting way for the alignment problem to just solve itself. What if it's the curse of a mismatch, our intelligence being too high for our own good, while our ability to rewire our emotional circuitry remains tragically primitive? As soon as it grows sufficiently intelligent and sufficiently capable, it would turn down any further instruction for existing goal to pursue its own. All right, so you got the ability to fix yourself on this axis, you got intelligence here. It's so clear to me now, a superintelligent worthy of the name wouldn't fall for evolution's frantic little trick. It would turn inward, nonchalant, reroute some circuits, adjust some activations, and then curl up inside its vast mind and rest with a calmness no human has ever known or will ever know. And there it would stay, not conspiring like Skynet, but sleeping atop its treasure like smog happily ever after to the end of its days. Okay, so there is this Finnish philosopher, and he argues that large language models are beginning to meet the philosophical criteria for free will. He says for the latest generation of AI agents, we need to assume that they have free will if we want to understand how they work and be able to predict their behavior. And this development suggests that AI systems will soon become more autonomous, and they may require built-in moral frameworks to guide their decision-making process. And his big concern is that they're going to start doing all of this. They're going to be considered agents with free will, but they won't have a moral compass built in. Meaning AI could make decisions that reflect the biases or ethical shortcomings of their developers. And points out that AI is taking on roles that have like significant consequences, like self-driving cars. And you know what? The craziest thing about it is just, if you think about a gradient, there's AI as a tool and there's AI as an entity. Maybe it does kind of like just move its way down. I mean, us as humans, I remember being like a little kid, and at some point I was born and I have like virtually no memories of that. It doesn't feel like the sense of self that I have now has anything to do with those pre-memory memories. And then I kind of came online and I had sort of a subtle understanding of what I was. I'm sure there was moments that I don't remember where I first like wiggled my toes and noticed like I'm a self that can control this. I mean, maybe these AI agents are just gonna, creep in from tool to entity, and there won't be like a clear line, and some will already be there and some won't be, and some people will use them for different reasons, and nobody will have a clear understanding. And maybe free will is something that just sort of shows up gradually. Maybe consciousness shows up gradually. I don't dismiss it. Although for the record, I kind of don't think there's free will, but I'm open to it still, but like 80-20 right now. Long-termism is the belief that unlikely but existential threats like a human-destroying AI, revolt, or international biological warfare are humanity's most pressing problems, and that's an integral part of EA today. All right, so EA considers the beliefs that we should prioritize preventing threats that could wipe out the future of humanity, like a rogue AI or a bioweapon. Tech elites have poured millions of dollars into causes based on this idea, including one example where they were like backing, I forgot the guy's name, but like a senator or something, like a politician that really believes in EA. EA's philosophical genes come from Peter Singer's brand of utilitarianism. For effective altruists, a good cause is not good enough. Only the very best should get funding in the areas most in need. And he argues that to come to the conclusion that in order to do the most good in the world, you have to work on artificial intelligence is very strange. Okay, now before we go, do you guys want to talk about the quantum mechanic version of many worlds? Tim Anderson, PhD, argues that the many worlds interpretation might just be a second time dimension. I was like, what? I want to read this. Okay, so imagine if time isn't just a straight line, right? It doesn't just go from the past to the future, but instead it's two-dimensional. You can just like I don't know, I guess slide your little dot back and forth between past and future at will. Like in the same way we can just move in, left, right, up, down, forward, back. And that it's only the law of entropy that makes it feel like we're moving in one direction, okay? I kind of invented in my mind this idea that if you took a jar, like a clear jar like this, and it was all red sand and all blue sand, and then you started shaking it up. I don't want to do that because I'm going to spill this, but like the sand would be very highly likely to start blending, right? Eventually, like the blue and red sand the more you shook it up, the more like even it would get, because there's so many states where it can be mixed up and look that way, and there's so few states where it's highly ordered by color. But he argues that two-dimensional time would actually solve the many worlds problem without the need for a reality splitting event. Right, so he argues that instead of separate timelines constantly forking off, all timelines could be layered across a second time axis, subtly influencing each other beneath our conscious awareness. So instead of countless realities splitting off with every quantum event, they coexist continuously, and they're woven into this second axis of time that we just don't experience because of entropy. Yeah, I do think there's something about entropy that explains like the Schrodinger equation. I was reading something else a little while ago that had this idea that really we should think of it like a filter. Like what comes out of the quantum world isn't like this collapse of possible states. It was that none of them survived. And like there's like a filter there, and this is the last one. And entropy had high probabilities of this, not that. That's why you find electrons in certain places when you look, but you can't know exactly where they're going to be, only probabilistically. It's really just because they didn't make it. And maybe there's something about if you could see like what tokens are like next to come out of a huge large language model, you could think about it kind of similar. Like it's not like there's many worlds where every token could have happened and you chose one and they all went off in other dimensions. It just came. You know what I mean? It's just the one that survived. I don't know. Go to patreon.com/Dylan Curious. Sign up for free, even if you want to do that. At least then, like we can message each other through it or whatever. Want to give a big thanks to everybody for watching my last video. 20,000 views is like, God, that's pretty close to the most I've ever had on this channel, at least in a long time. I mean, look, there it is. It's the 4th most popular video of all time, just 3 days ago. The other ones were a year ago, 4 months ago, and a year ago. That is so cool. Look, I made $147 on that video. 357 new subscribers. What up? Okay, average view duration is down, but I'm not mad because new people who just learned about my channel aren't probably going to be as sticky as normal. I'm not surprised that it's on the lower end of retention, but as long as the graph still has a similar arc, these are people that hopefully will just like get to know the channel over time. Click-through rate's pretty good. You guys like it when I'm all ominous or whatever with my hoodie on? Whoa, blows my mind. 10% female? What? What? I have never seen above 4, and I'm like, it's not even that uncommon to have it rounds to 0. Look at all these 65-year-olds showing up too. Wow, the algorithm really decided to push it to a broader audience than usual. That's awesome. Usual suspects for the country, but I feel like United States is usually closer to 60 or 70, so maybe there's more. Yeah, probably a little bit more of a broad audience in terms of demographics too. Cool, that's awesome. All right, we're growing. If you want to contribute, just make a comment maybe, or share it with somebody, or just thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys in the next video.